Americans are discouraging their 17-year-old children and the young ones that they know from serving in the United States military. In a survey published by the Military Times, 54% of individuals polled said that they would discourage a 17-year-old relative from enlisting in the military. Interestingly enough, 2/3 of the same individuals said they would encourage commissioning. Some of the reasons cited were politicizing of the military, the pullout of Afghanistan, public perception of the military and military service, dwindling confidence in the United States military. The study found that Democrats are less likely than Republicans to encourage young people to join the United States military. And the article that contained the survey also took a look at certain negative and positive veteran stereotypes. Let's get into some of these reasons. Let's start out with the politicizing of the military, or the wokeness that some people seem to perceive in the United States military. The United States military has literally always been used as a political tool. Whenever we want to change cultural or societal norms, we do it in the military first. I think that the vast majority of Americans have at least a begrudging respect. Even if they don't necessarily agree with the current conflicts or what the military is currently doing, they have a begrudging respect for military service. I think back to when I first joined. I was one of the last iterations coming through the United States Army Basic Combat Training while Don't Ask, Don't Tell was in effect. While I was in AIT, it actually got repealed. I remember seeing the memo on the wall. And I also remember being shocked that homosexual individuals couldn't serve. That was strange to me. I wasn't super familiar with military service based on my geographic location growing up. I'm from Oregon. Pacific Northwest is not super military heavy, but it was super interesting seeing that. But going all the way back to desegregation, women in the military, anytime that we want to change the perception of a specific demographic in society, often we try and do so in the military first. Military service shows that you can be part of a diverse team of individuals. You can come together to accomplish incredible things, objectives, goals, all together. It shows the ability to work with anybody in austere conditions, strenuous work hours, and just generally you can kind of suck it up. When individuals were surveyed, 80% said that veterans were well disciplined and 20% said veterans were aggressive. I'm shocked that number is not higher. Anytime we're looking at surveys, if you don't know what the pool of people polled was, it's hard to put a significant level of merit into it. And that's not to say that the Military Times did a poor job. That's just to say anytime you're looking at data or statistics, you need to understand A, who's doing the study, and B, how much they collect. If you ask 50 people what they think about the military, that's not representative of Americans. But if you ask 1,000 people from each state, that's likely far more reflective just based on the law of averages. Getting into the drawdown of Afghanistan, well, I think that anybody that has an opinion, anybody that wants to, armchair quarterback that one, if you don't have any leadership experience in the military, it's hard for you to understand. And I'm not trying to disparage you or make you feel like your opinion is invalid or less. What I'm trying to say is that many of us don't have perspective. We don't have all the information as the average American. We don't have the information that they had. The one that most confused me was a lack of confidence in the United States military. Right now, things are popping off all over the world. And wherever the United States is, people pay attention, specifically our adversaries. Anytime the United States sends any level of a force anywhere where our adversaries are making moves, our adversaries respond. They respond verbally or they mobilize forces. They know what we are capable of. And so the idea that Americans are not confident anymore in what the United States military can do is kind of confusing to me. Our adversaries certainly seem to be confident in what we can do. We're right around the 50th anniversary of the all-volunteer force in our United States Armed Services. I believe the move to an all-volunteer force is one of the best that the United States of America has made in reference to our military. The United States Armed Forces are an expeditionary armed force, right? It's not for just the defense of our nation. We go places and we do things and we make the world a more secure and stable place. Not everyone agrees, though, with what we are doing around the world. If you were to force people to serve, in my opinion, that is tyrannical. That is what authoritarian, tyrannical countries do. Now, there's lots of people that'll say, I think that everybody should have to serve a year in the United States Armed Forces. I don't agree. As it is now, there's plenty of service members who get to the active force and they decide, yeah, this isn't for me. This is not what I thought it would be. Most of them do their job. They get out. They serve honorably. Some of them, they do the bare minimum. They make our lives as leaders in the military way harder, way harder. If you were to force people to serve, especially during times of conflict, and conflict that maybe not everybody agrees on, I believe the result would be in a significantly worse fighting force. You want everybody at a minimum to have chosen to be there. You want everybody at a minimum to have had that input. If you start forcing people in the military, I believe that it will degrade the lethality and readiness of our armed forces. And that is something that the United States of America and quite frankly the world cannot afford. The study published found that individuals that held a negative view of veterans were far less likely to recommend military service. Shocker. Not surprising. Not surprising. I think that some negative stereotypes of veterans or maybe they're kind of our fault. Military and veterans, we lean into certain things that maybe we shouldn't always lean into. But I also believe that many of the stereotypes, if not the vast majority of the stereotypes, are unwarranted. They have no merit. Similar to stereotypes in any other demographic. Veterans are disciplined, they can work on a team, they can communicate effectively, they're punctual. And quite frankly, a veteran, somebody who served honorably in the United States Armed Forces, more likely than not is going to get the job done, or they're going to figure out how to get the job done, whether they're resourced or manned appropriately or otherwise. War-induced mental illness stereotypes were key in this survey. Many individuals feared that the majority of veterans have some kind of PTSD and that it is debilitating to them later in life. My experience with veterans, even veterans with severe PTSD, is many can manage it extremely well. For the average American that doesn't understand PTSD, they just hear buzzwords used in the news, it may look worse than it is. But many people, even outside the military, have PTSD from traumatic events and you're not even aware of it. If somebody is in a significant car accident, they may have PTSD associated with that. That's many people, and you probably don't even know. But listen, as always, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about this? Is there any merit to this? Has the military gone woke? Has the military been politicized too much? Are the reasons cited in this survey for people discouraging individuals from serving in the military, are they valid? I want to hear your thoughts.